Welcome to the Upwards Positive Podcast with your hosts, Dave and Tim. Journey to positive thinking through stories, music, movies, and much more. Join the guides as they help provide you with positive thinking and ideas to help you through hard times in the journey of life.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Upwards Positive Podcast. Myself, Tim Mazarana, and Dave Thomas here as your hosts tonight. Excited to kind of be here, man. To be honest with you, I kind of needed this. It's been kind of a whirlwind at work lately, and I needed to kind of break away and just kind of talk some things out, man. How are you doing?
Good. Yeah, same way. I was just thinking about that when you were saying it. I was like, this could be one of those moments where you take that time to, kind of decompress just a little bit and try to, a lot of times you focus on that for weekends, right? Like, I can't wait to get to the weekend. But the thing is, the weekend is it's a couple days off, but it doesn't really change the fact that you still have to come back to the same workload on Monday that you left behind on Friday. So you got that stress comes right back,
No doubt.
So yeah, I love my weekends, of course, but they're never long enough, right? Because you don't. It's not like you're getting that nice detaching feeling like you are if you took a week off or a vacation, right? It's a little different. And right now, it's such a hard time at work, right? This time frame at work for anybody is usually a nightmare, right? Because all companies are pushing first quarter. Everybody needs to get everything aligned, and there's a lot of work. Yeah, it's just so much going on, and you're constantly been bombarded by other people you work with, different areas. I mean, it's just that's normal though. I think every year at the beginning of the year, for me at least, everybody's different, but from here till November, and it slows down as it goes. So right now it's busy. It'll stay busy till about the summer. Then I think people tend to do more vacations, so things a little bit slow down in the summer, at least at the beginning. And then from that point, after 4th of July, then it starts to go down completely, slowly but surely. It's like just a kind of a fade out.
Yeah, no, I mean, it definitely comes in waves. We do a lot of stuff by quarters, and same thing. Summertime will be kind of slower, but building up towards a big third and beginning of fourth quarter, and then come December, a lot of things kind of die down because you got Christmas in there and everybody kind of takes it off and things kind of pause for a little bit. I always typically work, but it's a lot less workload, during that time of year for the most part. So, which is good. But I don't know about you. I'm one of those guys that when I got a lot on my mind, I don't sleep very well. Like the last, couple weeks, like I'm the type of guy that'll wake up at like 4 a.m. and start thinking about, I'm not, and it's not like bad stuff, not angry about it. I'm not behind or anything like that. It's just a matter of you start thinking about, stuff, and then you can't go back to sleep. Like I woke up at 4 o'clock this morning and, just started thinking about, the different things I had to get done and how I was going to solve different problems and all this kind of stuff. And, all of a sudden it's 6:30 and the kids are up and you got to get breakfast going and all that kind of stuff. So, life is tough to deal with sometimes. And, there's certain things that I do to try to stay on track. It doesn't necessarily help my sleeping patterns, but there's certain things that I do, to try to alleviate that day to day, because you can start your day and end your day feeling like you absolutely didn't accomplish anything. And I think that can actually happen too. I mean, you can start your day and end your day not actually accomplishing anything unless you're organized and prepared for it. So I think that to me, from a de-stressing kind of perspective, I'm a big fan of kind of checklists and working through the checklists and checking things off as I go and prioritizing those checklists and kind of have a running board of things that need to get done. So when it is quitting time, if I ever get there, I can know what I did, feel accomplished, and then, get organized for the next day and start thinking about the next task. So,
yeah, no, for sure. I feel the same way. I if I can't sleep like that, like the first thing I do is like, I'll wake up at like, let's just say 7 a.m. I'll wake up and I'll literally, I mean, if I'm going to work, which is not normal nowadays, but like, let's say I'm coming down here, wherever I'm working, like I'm the kind of person, like I just start like really focusing and just getting through every little thing in detail, and like going through all my emails that I need to catch up on. If I had a to-do list that, the areas I need to do, I'll do those right away, like contracts, whatever I'm working on. and I try to get those done. And, and then I feel a little more free by 10, 11 a.m. that I accomplished some stuff. And, or if I'm asked about it, I now have a very clean answer of what I'm doing, right? Or how I'm going to fix something or achieve something. And I think that's a lot of times people just don't set goals. And, it's easy to get lost in the day to day and keep doing something, you feel like a robot and all that. But if you find some pleasure in what you do, and you have a job that you can find pleasure in some way, shape, or form, that's where you want to be in life. Like, you need to find something is your job that you can relate to and find a positive thing. And for me, it's always been people. I'm not gonna lie. Like, the job's the job, but like, I kind of like working with companies and coworkers. And to me, that's always been like, I want to achieve something that makes my boss look good. I want to achieve something that, like, I worked on a project this past year from March, like right around the time COVID hit, all the way till I would say August, maybe July, August. It was a really big project, and it was for a lot of savings of money for something we were working on. And the highest level of the company ended up reviewing this project, and they ended up declining it to do what we wanted to do. But I got a shout out, like in the VP all people meeting, my name came up, like, oh, the hard work by Dave Thomas, So I was like,
That's
wow,
awesome.
but that just makes me feel like, they did recognize I was trying to make them look good. And I put together presentations that were second to none, like amazing. Like, I took images of like cars and whatever I need to put in it, and I cut them out completely and put them so it looked really, high level. And it wasn't, but I enjoyed it. I actually liked doing it. And I knew that they would like it when they saw it, right? Because they'd be like, wow. And even the highest level people that are so high level that make multi-millions of dollars seeing this presentation, right? And I knew that they would be like, wow, this looks good. Someone really put this together in the right way, but
yeah, no, don't doubt, man. I
oh,
plenty of stories around that myself. Recognition is important. It really is, knowing that the work that you do is being seen by others. And, I think that's a very important aspect of having a good working life, and being a good manager, a good coworker even, is
yep.
recognizing when work is getting done. I think a lot of people fall in the trap, though, of needing that recognition from others to feel successful in their careers. And I think the one thing that I've kind of learned is, that recognition I kind of give to myself through the different things that I do, like that checklist that I make for myself of things that need to get done. It's so awesome when I can check everything off. Like, it takes this weight off your shoulders, regardless of recognition, and nobody knows what I did that day, but I checked all the stuff that I needed to get done. And it feels good internally too. So I think there's an element of making sure that you're being accountable to yourself as well.
So let's flip this into something that's more life bound, is like, maybe you could actually create a checklist for your normal day life for checking off things you should be doing, like calling your mother, or
that's a great idea.
Your kids sledding, or spending 20 minutes reading with your children, right? So just think of it that way too. Like, it doesn't always have to be about work. Maybe you can take the checklist idea and use it for bucket list things, or things you really want to do for your community, like get out and help people. So I think that's what we need to do, Tim, the checklist.
I really like that idea, Dave. I think that makes a lot of sense, because, I'm kind of stuck in a rut right now where work's kind of my entire life, at this point, just this phase of my life. And you need to have those personal goals. I think, especially, and I hate to say it because we always talk about it, but being stuck in the house right now, I mean, we're not only in COVID, that's part of it, but we're in winter in Michigan, right? So there's not a lot of things to do. There's not a lot of things to accomplish. You kind of hibernate in a way, or you can easily hibernate, I should say, when we're stuck in these winter months. And I think that's actually a really important thing. I'm gonna have to put some things on paper for that and start checking them off.
So, because
great idea.
This time of year is just so bad here. Like, today is the first day I actually went for a walk. My treadmill broke, so I'm like in this like rut of like not being able to move, and I can't stand it. Like, normally I could power walk and just walk and watch TV or do my job and at least move, like, and I feel better physically. And then now I can't do that. I can't go outside. It's like freaking 15 degrees. I'm trying to walk outside when it's cold, but I just don't got that in me. Like, even though I'm an outdoorsman, right? That's just a little too cold for me. And so today was the first day. It was like 40 out. It was beautiful. So I actually got out twice today and went for 2 walks. because I knew I needed to catch up and figure out this treadmill situation, which is a downer right now. So
what would be on your checklist?
oh man, checklist. Well, I think definitely kid stuff. So I would start with that, and then like maybe like actually reading with the kids 30 minutes each, maybe per day. You know, try to do it at least once a day or once every other day. It'd be nice at least, because I feel like we get caught like, well, let's watch a movie or let's play a video game together, right? Which is still fine, but like I don't know. Like I feel like sometimes you just kind of miss so much so quickly.
Yeah.
And I looked at my eldest son yesterday and he just turned 12 and I'm like 12, like what the heck, you know? And he's like, I can't even pick him up barely, you know? I'm thinking in my head like, what the heck, man? I lost like 5 years so quickly and I don't even know. I still see him as like 7, you know?
Yeah,
So it's like,
no doubt.
what the heck is happening here, you know? So I guess, and I know that's just natural. It's life. It's a circle of life. There's nothing you can do. We're all going to age and all that. But it just it to keep being depressed from it. You just got to find certain things that are cool and try to do stuff with them that could be fun. But again, not always the same stuff. And I feel like that's the issue, right? Like gaming, right? Me and my kids found a really love for gaming together. But like now I look back on them, it's like, all right, it was cool. It was a cool phase, but they're still into it. And I kind of want to like pull them out of it, and like, what else can we do? Maybe we should go for skiing or go for a jog or, maybe let's go and look through nature, right? You know what I mean? Like it's getting too much. And it's like, all right, now it's time to like take a step back and figure out a better path and at least something where they're learning something, right? Because I'm starting to feel like this was cool for a little bit, but now like they're not learning anything. It's not like you watch Wildcrats, right? And you're learning about animals and you'll remember that like, oh, a possum can eat ticks or whatever, right? I mean, you're always gonna, if you're watching something that they're learning or exploring yourself in the wilderness or whatever, I mean, it doesn't have to be that. It could be playing a game, playing basketball, playing football. It don't matter.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. I think one of the things that I do with the kids, we love cooking, we love eating. The kids actually loved and are really interested in that, although they don't do a lot of it themselves. They just don't have the confidence to really, experiment with cooking and that kind of thing, which is good. Don't get me wrong, because putting a knife in their hands might be a completely different story anyway. Um, but we watch a lot of the Food Network type of stuff, like Chopped and like the different competitions, and like they're really into that, man. They actually love they love watching like they have this one called Kids Baking Championship, right, which is kids our kids age that are in this competition for baking cakes and muffins and cookies and all this kind of stuff. And they actually really get into it, like trying to guess at who's the best and what they would do and what flavors they would use and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully that sticks with them, and they can find some sort of passion through that. It seems like they're really interested in it. But the other part of it is just trying to, I think, breed that passion in them or try to find that passion in them. And one of the things I've been doing with my oldest son is kind of sitting him down every day and just for 5 or 10 minutes, talking to him about life, about friendship, about what he's doing, how he's doing, where he wants to go, what he's interested in. And sometimes they don't have an answer, but giving them different tasks, like, okay, if you don't know, if you don't have a passion, you don't have a hobby, you don't have anything new that you want to do, maybe we should start researching that. So, give me a topic, let's start looking it up. And if you see something that's interesting, tomorrow, what I want you to do is read about it and come back to me and we can talk about what you read about and, just kind of help them in that mindset kind of, further their own life and start thinking about their future a little bit. I was with a couple buddies this past weekend and talking about, just life in general. And I happened to mention that my oldest son, who's 12, we started talking about garage space and driveways and that kind of thing, because there's some work that I want to do on the house. And they're like, well, why wouldn't you do this and that? And I said, well, because listen, in 4 years, like let's say it takes a year for me to accomplish what I want to accomplish. In 4 years now, 3 years from when it's done, my son's going to have a car. And they look at me like, holy crap. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to your point earlier, time flies by when you get older. I think the older we get, the faster time flies by and the faster time can slip away from you. And you don't realize you're 5 years down the road.
Yeah. It's scary. But
It
speaking
is.
of that, so there's a clip I'm gonna play for you. I found this online. It's called "Every Man Has Two Lives," and so I'll play it real quick. But we'll talk about it after. There's a couple. I have like two or three cool clips on here I want to show you. But this is the first one. It's by Naval Rakavant. All right, let me see here. Let me see how to. Trying to.
Every man has two lives, and the second starts when he realizes he has just one. Wow. It's like a happy person wants 10,000 things. A sick person just wants one thing. Right. So it's your unlimited desires that are clouding your peace, your happiness. Have desire, just don't focus on more than one desire at a time. The universe is rigged in such a way that if you just want one thing and you focus on that, you'll get it. But everything else, you gotta let go. Did you make
Interesting, huh?
Yeah, makes a lot of sense actually. You know, contentment is a big thing. When we chase after too many things, I think we get ourselves into trouble, right?
Yeah.
We pull ourselves in too many different directions to stay focused on what our goal is. And I think, staying focused on a goal is, I think, extremely important in life.
Interesting when he says, a happy person wants 10,000 things, but a sick person just wants one.
They just want to feel better. Yeah, right. Right.
So that's interesting when you think about it, because it's like you're at some point, we all become that sick person, no matter what, at some point. And so but like what he's saying is like, if you can focus on each thing, I think you just be happier, period. So like we talked about the to-do list with kids or your wife or whatever, if you can focus on those things and directly focus on them. Like sometimes my younger son will talk to me and I'm kind of like scatterbrained, or I'm thinking and looking around while he's talking. So and I'm learning to do this better, but I'm trying to like look right at him and literally focus on every word he says when he's talking to me, because I don't want him to feel like, oh, my dad never listens to me or doesn't care what I say, right?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to like fix that for myself. It's just like, focus, stop, don't worry about work. Don't worry about this. Don't worry about it. Just focus. So I think that's what he's saying in those words. And I thought it was very interesting.
Yeah, it's funny. Yesterday, the day before, had a little, incident with the kids. They're just not behaving, and they ended up getting grounded, and they changed their behavior a little bit, but just trying to do just the least amount, to try to earn back some privileges that they lost, and after this little bit of work that they did, which you could see that they were trying, but you could also see that they're trying to do the minimum to earn anything back. My son started asking me, he's like, did I earn it back yet? Did I earn it back yet? And I looked at him and I said, do you really need to ask me that? I mean, don't you know whether you did enough work or whether you did the right thing to really come and approach me as to whether or not you earned back privileges or not? And he looks at me kind of shyly. He's like, yeah. He's like, so why would you do that? Like, why would you come to me knowing in your own heart that you haven't done what you needed to do, and you're asking somebody else that was the one that punished you, by the way, to forgive you? And forgiveness is a great thing. And I think there's lessons on forgiveness that you can have. And there's times where it is to forgive, but we've been going through this responsibility mentality with my kids. I need to see reliability, responsibility, and maturity. That's what I'm expecting from you. And I'm not asking much, but I'm asking, when you see a dish on the counter, you put it away. When you see this, you do it. You guys are home all day, with school and all that kind of stuff. I'm in my office working. And when I come downstairs, I mean, I expect it not to be worse than when I went upstairs in the morning, And so we've been going through that. And, he, later in the night when it was bedtime, he comes up to me just randomly. He said, Dad, I just want you to know that you're the best dad. And I looked at him like that, just like kind of, well, no. And it was kind of that mentality, but that was it. I mean, we talked about it. He's like, I don't want you to feel like you're a bad dad.
Wow.
And I just wanted you to know that you're a great dad. And I said, thanks, man. Like, cause you feel bad, don't you? Like when you punish your kids, you feel like you're missing out on moments. You feel like you're taking their joy away. But in those moments where I did do that, and he knew he was in the wrong and he tried to get out of it and he didn't, he still at the end of the night, thought I was a good dad for staying firm and holding him accountable for my expectations of him. So kind of cool.
Yeah, that is cool. All right, here's the other one. So this one's a little bit, I think, a different topic, but well, let's listen to it and we can talk about it. But I found this one too, and I thought it was a really interesting conversation.
Almost 90% of the human suffering is in just this. You misunderstand your psychological drama to be real. It's your drama. You can play it whichever way you want. If you're a good director of drama, you would make it the way you want it. Otherwise, it's happening haphazardly. Well, this is the reality of existence. How beautiful it is, but most people choose to live in their mind because they have made strong conclusions, and it's no more a choice as to where they live. It's time you live on this planet. Just pay enough attention to every aspect of creation, and you will see the presence of the source of creation in it. This is what you need to experience. The psychological drama is your making. It's my wish and my blessing that you must get out of the prison of your own mind and know the beauty of creation.
Isn't that amazing?
It is.
This is a guy in like Afghanistan. And when I heard this, I was like, he's so right in so many ways. Like you create this drama, this overzealous situation of anything, whether it's my kid broke my fish tank or, and you get into this whole negativity when really, I mean, what really is it? You know what I mean? Like, it's
what
like, it's
really
so
matters.
So many more important things in life and just by stepping outside and looking around.
Yeah, I've been reading this. Well, it's really more of an ebook, but this ebook, and one of the things that I really picked up on is, where you find God, where you find what's important, and I kind of related to it because the author was talking about how she finds it when she steps outside and looks up. Right. And I feel something very similar to that. Like when I'm in a wide open space, when I'm traveling, when I see something new, when I see something huge, that's where I find joy for some reason. Like I don't find joy in four walls and in a book or, anything like that. I love to travel. I love to see, the world and, looking up in the sky and seeing a bright, bright sun out there. And, that's what really helps me focus on the more important things in life, knowing that there's something bigger out there, something better out there than what I'm doing right here in this moment. So, I mean, not with you, obviously,
yeah, okay.
Me talking to you. It's dark out, by the way. There's no big blue sky. So,
all right, here's the last one. Now, this one you might have already heard actually, and I heard it and I thought, man, this is really well done. And I thought about it and I was like, I'm going to play it anyways. Here we go.
Don't fail. You're not even trying. I'll say it again. If you don't fail, you're not even trying. My wife told me this great expression. To get something you never had, you have to do something you never did.
That's from a movie, isn't it? Is that from a movie?
Yeah, it might have been University of Pennsylvania. I thought it was actually a speech Denzel Washington gave to a
okay
class.
Maybe that's I knew it was Denzel Washington. That's why I thought it was from a movie. But
how serious is that? You can't.
Yeah,
you're gonna fail. I mean, there's no way around it. I think people don't realize in life that no matter what you do, it is the first time you're gonna do it, and you're gonna fail. It's okay. That's the point. If people make you feel it's not okay, they're wrong. It is okay. That's the point.
It is. It absolutely is. And I think the premise of you have to do what you've never done to get something you've never had. There's an older quote where my mom who wrote a book many, many years ago, just kind of for fun. She had, just like writing and reading and that kind of stuff. And she wrote it around this topic of those who do not learn from the past are condemned to repeat it. So for those that do the same thing or repetition, I don't know if you've ever heard repetition is insanity, right? When you do the same thing over and over again and expect the same result or expect a different result, that's never going to happen. Right. So it really is stepping outside and doing something different. That if you want something different that you've never had before, you have to do something different that you've never done before. And that makes a whole heck of a lot of sense. Because if you keep just doing the same things over and over again, nothing's going to change. Absolutely.
Yeah. I say to everybody out there, dare to challenge yourself and, realize that no matter who you are and no matter who we're talking about, everybody has failed. Like, especially you look at actors, you think these actors are like so amazing people and celebrities, but they have all failed at some sort of casting. They've all not made a cut here and there. And the funny part is, if you go back and you can watch casting calls of like all these people who were for big movies and stuff, and all the big names that were on a casting but yet never got picked, right? And they pick somebody
Yeah.
no one even knows, because everybody fails. It doesn't matter who you are. It could be a CEO of a company. They have failed at some point in their life at some project,
Yep.
like, it's just, so don't feel discouraged. If you really want something, you go for it. Just like the guy said a couple video clips before, you focus on one thing, you'll achieve it. That's the point. That's how the nature works, right? Just if you really focus on one thing, you can achieve it. Don't get me wrong, some things will be hard, some things will not be possible, but don't let one person or two people even tell you no, right? You got to
Got
keep
it.
going and challenge yourself. So, only way.
Yep. No, absolutely, man. And I used this before, but you never know what's on the other side of the door, and you got to knock on it in order to see. So you got to open that door. You got to knock on the door. You got to see if anybody's home, and maybe nobody's home at that door, and you move on to the next door. But eventually something's going to open, something's going to be on the other side, and you're going to get to go down and continue your journey down wherever you're going to go. Um, the point is not to stop. And I think to be honest with you, I think that's the toughest part for me about this time of year is the monotony of life, the
Yeah.
cold days, not getting out, not seeing new things. For me, that's a joy. That's a love. I love camping. I love the outdoors. I love all that kind of stuff. But you get in this monotonous mode this time of year, and it just drives me absolutely insane.
Yeah. And I think it's really important. And I want to say that you sometimes one of the biggest things in life, in my opinion, is just so you have this, what we talked about today, all these different things of daring yourself, challenge yourself. You get stuck in these, grinds that you're working on like right now. And but the biggest thing is that you always want to be good to people and nice to people. It doesn't matter how they treat you. What matters is how you treat them. And I had this happen to me the other day, and I got very frustrated with somebody, and I got snooty with them on the phone. This is like a company. I had my treadmill broke. I went to Costco. They said they return it. The company who picks it up is a different company. And I thought I fixed the treadmill. So I thought I fixed it. I was like, oh, well, it seems to be working out. Maybe I just made a mistake. So they emailed me to pick it up. I said, I think I'm all set. I'm going to cancel this pickup. So the email went through. I didn't hear anything. So then literally the next day, the treadmill broke again. Same thing. I'm like, well, so I hurry up and email them, say, hey, I need to schedule this pickup. I send the email, then I called, and this manager comes on. The lady's like, oh, I can't help you. So this manager comes on. He's like, well, what's going on here? And I'm like, well, I need to schedule a pickup. And he's like, well, corporate already canceled this. And so what's the misunderstanding? And he was a little bit rude, but I was like, so I really kind of laid into him. I'm like, dude, are you going to help me or not? You going to schedule this pickup, or do I need to call Costco? Right. I don't care. I just, what's going on here? I don't need to talk to 10,000 people. Just tell me the answer. So he's like, just call Costco. And I hung up on him. So then I started thinking about it. I'm like, man, I was just so rude about that. Like, why was I yelling at that guy? Like, yeah, it's frustrating, but I did email him and say to cancel this thing. Right. So I'm thinking in my head, like, I'm totally in the wrong on this, no matter what. It's not his fault I canceled it. And so I went back to Costco.com, returned. So I sent the guy an email. So I'm like, you know what? I'm sending this guy an email. I feel really bad. So I just said, hey, I just want to apologize. I was way too rude. And, I came off as rude. And I want to apologize. Had a bad day. Totally directed that towards you. Should not have been. So I just want to say I'm sorry. He didn't reply, but I felt like I did the right thing, because I don't usually do that. I don't usually ever argue with people, even at work. I never argue. Like I'm a type of person who's very like standoffish, because I know at the end of the day, it'll get worked out generally. And I knew this would get worked out too.
Not me, my friend. That is a struggle of mine.
Yeah, I haven't had that problem. I just, for some reason, I just realized that, and it's not like that with my kids, unfortunately, but I know that like in real life, like with, other people, that if I back off and then pursue it a different way or with more data, I will usually get the right answer I want. So,
Yeah.
like in that case, he could not help me anyway, but being rude doesn't justify it anyway. So that's the only reason I sent the email back. But of course, if you call Costco and say, "Hey, this is what happened," they're going to still refund it. You know what I mean? They don't care. They just need to know that it's really broke. So.
Well, I think a lot of the frustration that I have, and yes, with kids, I think it's a different story. But a lot of the frustration that I have with other coworkers and people and that kind of stuff is the lack of listening. And that's the one thing, not one thing, but that's one of the things that I've learned is that you become a better person. Things become less stressful when you listen more and talk less, when you try to understand what's going on before you give a solution, because you don't even know if there's a solution that's needed, right? So it's about listening and asking questions and being on the same page as other people. Then you can have a conversation and you talk about your ideas versus their ideas, what's right, what's wrong, about all that kind of stuff. But I think that's where I get frustrated the most, is when people don't listen. Like if you call me and you want my advice and you're the one that called me, but you don't want to listen to what I have to say and you just want to interrupt, and that's the most frustrating thing to me ever. Why are you even, and I'm not talking about you, I'm actually talking more about work stuff.
It's funny.
But why are you even calling me? Why are you even calling me?
It's supposed to be a positive podcast, bro.
If you don't actually want to listen. Well, I'm saying that because it's a trap that people can get themselves into, right? Which I recognize. It's a frustration of mine that quite frankly, I probably need to work on. But it's a trap that you can get yourself into in regards to getting yourself into a negative attitude when you feel like that. So
yeah, I feel you. I feel you. I mean, my issue, I'd rather people call me and talk through a scenario than try to email me a 40-page document that shows what to do.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you expect me to read this in that much detail? Like, just call me and let's all work through it together instead of you sending an email that's 25 paragraphs that tells what to do.
Right.
Like, come on.
Yeah, because you can't read tone. You can't read what their thoughts are. It might be a lot of facts, but facts don't always get things done. You have to have the picture behind it. So
that is true. That's true. Okay, guys. Well, listen, we do have to go. But so what did we learn today? We learned that Tim is very upset.
Maybe it's showing that I am a little stressed, man. I got to do this checklist thing. So what I learned is that checklists are good. It helps keep me organized, but I need to further that outside of my work life into my personal life.
Yes.
And start making goals and checking them off no matter how little it is. Yes.
So the life checklists on this EP of Upwards Positive Podcast. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe and hit like. We love for you guys to follow and share this with your friends, and a lot more to come. So make sure you guys stick around. Thanks for watching. We'll see you.